Just realized I was muted. Welcome, everybody, to Speaking of Zane, February the 13th edition. Tell me if that's too bright. I can change that. Here we go. Whoa, now I'm blurry. Okay, we'll get it figured out. Test 1, 2. There we go. All right. All right. 268th edition of Speaking of Zane. Tuesday night edition. Might be the first time we've done a Tuesday night. We've done a lot of Monday nights, but Tuesday night. And the way that came about is Sunday night was Super Bowl, so I didn't want to intrude on anybody's enjoyment of the Super Bowl. I watched a good bit of it myself. Not a big NFL fan these days, but it was a good contest for sure, right down to overtime. But enjoyed that. But so we didn't have Speaking of Zane Sunday night, which we normally do. So I said we would do it Monday night, which we've often done over the years. But you know what? I totally forgot about it Monday night. So it was about 8:25 on Monday night, and I'm like, holy smoke, I totally forgot. But anyway, here we are on Tuesday, and you guys are still here. How about that? Tuesday, February the 13th. Had a great week in Orlando this past week. I was there for work. It was a busy week, but it was great. First time our entire sales organization, about 2,000 of us, of the 10,000 employees, gathered together to sort of celebrate last year's accomplishments and look forward to the new year's goals and whatnot. But some people there I had not seen in 5 years. I go to St. Louis a lot, so I see a lot of the people there, but people all over the world that I had not seen in maybe 5 years since we were all together again. So that was exciting. Of course, they didn't recognize me, many of them, with my 90 pounds weight loss, but that was all part of the fun of it. But it was a good time. Spent a lot of time with some fellow veterans. We have a lot of veterans at our company. And I just posted this afternoon a bunch of pictures. I had selfies I took with a bunch of the vets. That was just a small portion of the vets that I was able to interact with at the company over the last week. It was a good time. Got there on Monday and came home on Friday. I was home by Friday late afternoon, early evening. So it was a good time together with a bunch of my colleagues. We had a really good prayer breakfast too. Our founders are Christians, and we always have a voluntary prayer breakfast, and we did that. And a lot of my fellow veterans and good friends of mine were there for that at 06:30. I think it was on, I don't remember if it's Tuesday or Wednesday we did that, but had a good time there. Let's see who we've got here joining us tonight. Lori is in there. Steve Shirley's in there. Hello, Steve. Let's see. Yes, Lori, here's little feet up here running. Our son Jackson and daughter-in-law Caitlin are out doing something tonight. I can't remember what, but we've got little Carson, and she's been a really good girl. So I let her stay up. I let her stay up a little bit later. She's still up. Don't tell her, Grammy. But as soon as I'm done with speaking to Zane, she'll go to bed. But let's see, we got Daryl in there. We got Carl Q in there. What's up, Carl? We got my cousin Toby in there. Got some Facebook users in there. Let's see, my dad's in there. Hey, Dad. And let's see, I think there's a rumor, Dad, that we might be coming down there this weekend. I think Lori may be working that out with Sharon. I don't know. I'm available and free. I would love to come down this weekend. So we'll see what the girls put together. Oh, there's my buddy Ed Lujan over in Dallas, Texas, law enforcement officer his entire life. And he and I have met a couple of times here in Georgia on the Carry the Load walk. Good to have you in there, brother. Katie Aaron's in there from Michigan. Colin Krim's in there from Albuquerque. Let's see. And my Aunt Cindy's in there from Alabama. And let's see, Aunt Cindy, did you have a birthday this week? I think you might have. I think Aunt Linda had one this week too. But Jimbo Miller's in there. Carson, you want to say hi to everybody real quick before you go to bed? Come and say hi. Say hi. Tell everybody hi. That's Carson. That's Jackson's little girl. Her name is Carson Sky McDonald. And you love your granddaddy, don't you? I picked her up from daycare today. She says, Granddaddy, you're so sweet. Do you love your granddaddy? Okay, go in there and watch that show I put on for you, okay? Because you're going to bed in just a minute. She's absolutely adorable. She's 4 years old and very cute. Yes, she is so cute. And she is very smart too. Ed, you're right. Grandkids are the absolute best. No doubt about it. I should have skipped my kids and gone straight to the grandkids. Oh, but they're great. Okay, well, let's see what we got going on here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Insane Asylum. We got a walk-in challenge going at work. Speaking of weight loss, I'm in a walk-in challenge right now. We're walking virtually from Miami to Key West. And I think it's about 250 steps. And today, we've got 402 people at our company that are participating in this little challenge we've got going. And we track it all online and everything. But there's 402 participants. And so far, I'm in 66th place of 402 as of about an hour ago. I got a good walk in this afternoon. I'm at 127,000 steps for the challenge, which started February 1st. So I got a little ways to go. I think I'm about, just over halfway to Key West, I think, if I remember right. and then I think we turn around and come back. Um, Let me take a look at the app real quick, and I'll tell you. But anyway, kind of motivating to be competing with some colleagues there. It's a lot of fun to do that. If I can find, here we go, Florida Keys. So we're doing the Florida Keys. Did I say walking vertically? Virtually. I'm sorry, I meant to say virtually. I probably said vertically, but virtually. So we got this challenge going. Florida Keys. We got 16 days left. We started on February 1st. 402 participants. We're walking from Miami to Key West. I'll show you here. And you can even see my head there on the map, so you can see how far I've walked from Miami to Key West. So I think I'm getting pretty close there. Actually, I don't know how much more I've got to Key West, but I think actually I think it's a round trip. That's the what did I say? I'm at 128,000 of 245. So I think we get there and then turn around and go back. Anyway, so I'm kind of competing with 400 other people, but I got a few people in my little sphere that that I'm really competing with. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, well, let's see what else we got going on here. I mentioned last week I was reading an awesome book, and I finished it this past week, and it's called Extreme Ownership, and it's by a Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEAL called Jocko Willink, and just a fascinating book. I finished it this week, but I'd recommend it to anybody. Extreme Ownership, it's called. So now I'm looking for my next book to read. Now I've got stacks of them. You can see most of these I've read, and I read them with my class. But I've got a lot of books I'm in the middle of. I've got some B-17 books I'm reading. I've got a lot of stuff. But if anybody has an absolute, you got to read this guy, and I can do it. I can do it on Audible, do it on my walk. Shout it out in the chat or send it to me on Speaking of Zane. I'm open-minded. I've got a gazillion books in line, but I'm always open to a good book. Okay, let's see. Masters of the Air. There's another. This speaking of B-17s, I mentioned this Apple TV series that I'm watching. I don't have Apple TV, but my daughter Charlotte is like in a trial or something, so I logged on using her thing. But anyway, I watched the fourth episode Saturday night. Just absolutely fantastic. The fifth episode comes out Friday night. I'll probably watch it. Well, if we go to Fitzgerald, I'll watch it Friday night. But if we don't go to Fitzgerald, I'll watch it Saturday night. But anyway, highly recommend Masters of the Air. It's sort of in the same theatrical realm as Band of Brothers and um, the Pacific and those serials, if you've ever seen any of those. Okay, well, let's see. Lori made quite a bit of headway this week on thank you cards for folks that have reached out to us or helped with us or helped us or donated to us or sent us cards or whatever and on Tyler's passing. So thank you all that sent us cards or notes or whatever. Lori has had spent a significant amount of time this week doing some thank you cards. I believe so much in that. I actually wrote some out myself and took some, hand carried some to Orlando because I knew that I would see some of my colleagues there that have reached out to us and sent us cards and different things. So I had a bunch of cards and I was able to personally thank some people in Orlando. So that was nice. But yeah, Lori will be sending out some cards this week. Happy. There were some birthdays. I mentioned the birthdays. I think Aunt Cindy, I think Aunt Linda. There was an anniversary today. I believe it was today. Daryl and his wife, Wanda, who passed a few years ago. Today was their anniversary. Daryl, tell us in the chat how many years. I think I think you met Wanda when she was but 12 years old, and you guys were married at 17 or 18, and the rest is history. And it's a phenomenal story. So congratulations, Daryl, on that. Okay, well, let's see what else. Hat of the week, hat of the week, hat of the week. Hat of the week always has something to do with what the heck is going on around here, or in our lives, or at work, or at play, or anything that we're doing around here. I have a lot of hats, and I'm a hat wearer. Um, and sometimes the hat of the week emerges very naturally, and it's very easy. Sometimes I'm scrambling the last minute to tie in the hat of the week. And I don't know if you guys can see. Happy 59th, Daryl can see. I will put this up to the screen so you guys can see what the hat of the week is. It's the Allman Brothers Band. It's the Allman Brothers Band. Lori and I got this hat at the Big House, which is the Allman Brothers Band Museum in Macon, Georgia. And Lori and I were driving back. I've told this story before, but Lori and I were driving back from Savannah a few years ago, and we heard on the news about the passing of Greg Allman. And I'm like, oh, wow. We were in Macon. We were just getting into Macon. We were going from Savannah to Atlanta. And I said, let's go to the museum. So we got off the interstate, went to the Big House. I had been there before. Lori had not been there. Went to the Big House, and we went into the museum, and we were there. We were among the first fans to show up at the Big House after Greg's passing. And I think on that trip, we may have even stopped by the cemetery where Dwayne Allman is buried, and now Greg is buried as well, not too far from the museum. But anyway, the reason that this is the hat of the week is because I saw yesterday that, and some of you older folks like Daryl and Carl will know this, but there was an album that was released February 12th, 1972 by the Allman Brothers Band called Eat a Peach. Eat a Peach. Iconic album cover. But anyway, if you don't know about Eat a Peach, one of my favorite all-time um, Allman Brothers Band um, songs was off of Eat a Peach, and that's Melissa. Melissa. All right. Well, now you know the hat of the week, Allman Brothers Band. All right. Let's see what we got here. This week in military history, I didn't get a chance to pull any military history items, but I will tell you that on February the 9th of 2016, that's the day we laid Zane to rest at Georgia National Cemetery. I'll tell you what, we're so blessed that so many of his Army brethren showed up to help us do that. February the 9th, 2016, it was snowy here, snowy in Georgia that day. In fact, we had a police escort planned, and the Patriot Guard riders planned. And because of the snow and the inclement weather, the ice, they were not able to do a formal procession. However, the Patriot Guard riders did show up at the cemetery, and they did everything they would normally do. They just didn't do it on the motorcycles. So kudos to them. They were absolutely fantastic, very reverent, and I'll never, ever, ever forget it. It was an incredible thing, very sad occasion, but so many stepped up to be part of that and to send Zane off. And I thank you all for that. Okay, well, let's go. Speaking of veteran cemeteries, if I look at the cemetery visits that I know about, and you tell me if I get this wrong, Daryl, you visited today on your anniversary, Jefferson Barracks. I know my dad has made a couple of visits this week. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Steve's, I'm going to add Steve to the list here. You visited the Offutt Cemetery. Okay, I've been to that one. Yep. And you guys, okay, you guys removed took the wreaths down. Well, they were up for quite some time then. I think December 16th was when we put them all there. Okay, thanks for the awesome, Steve. Thanks for the book reviews there, and I'm going to add. So I'm going to add Steve's visit, which makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 5 visits for the week. Lori was scheduled to go to Georgia National Cemetery on Sunday with a friend of ours, Rhonda. It was pouring. It was absolutely miserable. They decided not to go, but we'll get another visit in soon. So if I add the 5, 6, we're at 1,086 visits since we started tracking them. So thank you all for playing along there. So good stuff. And Steve, I'm going to add your Thank a Vets here as we move down to the next challenge. Steve had 11. So we had a pretty good week here. I'm going to add that up here. We got someone else shouting them out here. That'll be 20. Okay, so let's see. We had retired Marine at Moody. Okay, and an airman at the gate. Who is that Facebook user? Is that you, Dad, or is that some other user? Sometimes, depending on how you are viewing, it just shows up Facebook user for me for some reason. But I think that's you, Dad. I see it over in the chat now. Okay, so let's see. Let's add Dad's retired Marine and gate guard. So that adds 2 more. Okay. All right. So let me tell you what I got here. I've got Steve with 11. I've got Dad with 2, retired Marine and gate guard, Air Force gate guard. Carson, go watch your show, baby. Carl, I have you down for 8 at the. Where did you run into these? The Combat Vet Motorcycle Club folks. But I got you down for 8 there, and then I had a big week last week, and I lost count, but I'm going to say 30 in Orlando. 30 of my colleagues and coworkers, and then I had 2 Army vets I met today for the first time at work. One's a retired Army colonel, East 06, and the other was a paratrooper. So that was 2 Army vets today that I met for the very first time. And then I was sitting out on the front porch Sunday, and a guy walks past with a little bitty dog. Didn't recognize him. I said, "Oh, you're walking the beast, huh?" He said, "Yeah, I'm just in town visiting my brother." He asked me, saw my Army flag outside, and said, "What was your MOS?" And I said, "Well, I was in the Air Force. I didn't have an MOS." I said, "But 2 of my kids were in the Army." So he says, "Yeah, I was." He says, "I'm retired Army, but I was also in the Marine Corps." And we got to chatting. He was in town from Mississippi visiting his brother just down the street for the Super Bowl. So I had a good chat with him. So that was 31, 32, 33 for me. So if I add all that up, we had 54 thank yous over this last week. That takes our total up to 2,522. So Ken, I'm happy to report that we have We have exceeded the 2,500. Thank you, Mark. We've been trying to get to that one for quite some time. We finally have exceeded it. So I will be making a donation to My Warrior's Place to commemorate us passing the 2,500. Thank you, Mark. How about that? Doesn't have to be thank yous. It could be an encounter or an interaction with a veteran. I had several of those this week and I enjoyed the heck out of them. So thank you all for playing along there. You guys have done a great job with our Think of Vet challenge. So look out, Kelly. You'll be having some donations to My Warriors Place coming your way. Okay, well, let's see. What else do we got on the organization front? Yeah, of course, we have the Running to Honor 5K coming up this summer. We've got, I mentioned Ed's in here. We've got oh gosh, where, let me find it here. I want to give you the right dates. I think the registration is open. Let me find it on my list here. Help me out, Ed, if you're still in there. I'm looking for, I mentioned it a minute ago, but now I can't find it. Carry the Load. Yeah, Carry the Load. So Carry the Load. Wow, what a fantastic organization. And they run, they do like 5 different routes across the country, east, a central, a mountain, a Pacific, and they all culminate eventually in Dallas for a big celebration for Memorial Day, acknowledging the fallen, whether you're a military or a first responder. And generally, their East Coast tour brings them down to Georgia National, and that's where I've been able to interact. This last year, I ran into the group here in Ackworth, actually at a park. Ed wasn't on this one. Ed was, I've seen Ed a couple of times, but he wasn't on this last route through Georgia. But anyway, Carry the Load. Google that, and there's a chance that they're making their way somewhere near you because they've got 5, I think, different routes that they traverse, and they have a bus, and they run, and they walk, and they bicycle, and it's just a great organization raising awareness and money there. So Carry the Load. Look them up. We'll be looking forward to that in May as well. Okay, well, let's see. Last week, I think I mentioned, yeah, Ed was doing the bike. That's right. Yep. I asked somebody about you, Ed, when I met up with him this time around. He said, no, he's doing the other route there on the bike. But all right. Well, let's see. We have a segment here on Speaking of Zane called Heroes Lost or Wounded, and we acknowledge and herald those that have fallen in service to the country, and we've had some of those. We had the 3 soldiers that were killed in the Syrian airstrike that were all from Georgia, and we announced their names last week. We also had a Marine Corps helicopter crash in California, and we lost 4 Marines, unfortunately. Let me see if I can pull up their names because they deserve to be acknowledged. We know that combat is inherently dangerous by definition, but also training for combat is hazardous, especially when it comes to aviation. Gravity is unforgiving. And unfortunately, we lost 4 Marines this past week. And I want to read their names off here if I can find the post real quick. Just a sad thing. I think they were going from Las Vegas back to California when they crashed in the mountains. Yeah, doggone it. I don't see it, but I'm going to find it here real quick. I know I have it. And it's worth the wait for us to read their names. here. It was a big plane, a Sea Stallion, I believe, but it could have been there could have been much more loss of life if they had been carrying um, other troops. But yeah, here we go. I think I'm just about, here we go. Just about found it here. Okay. So the Marines killed in the helicopter crash. Yes, it was 5. Lance Corporal Donovan Davis was 21 from Olathe, Kansas. Sergeant Alec Langen, 23, was a crew chief from Chandler, Arizona. Captain Benjamin Moulton, 27, one of the pilots from Emmett, Idaho. Captain Jack Casey, 26, was a pilot from Dover, New Hampshire. And Captain Miguel Nava was 28, a pilot from Traverse City, Michigan. Tragedy here. Let me share so you can see what a hero looks like, and they are indeed heroes. Sacrificed their lives in service to our country. There they are. Yep, absolutely tragedy there, and our thoughts and prayers go out to their families. I just imagine the grief that they are enduring with the loss of their sons and husbands. Okay, well, I think that is it tonight for Speaking of Zane. Thank you for tuning in on this unscheduled edition of Speaking of Zane. I usually don't do it on a Tuesday night. It's usually Sunday, but we had Super Bowl, and then Monday, this old man forgot. So here we are on Tuesday, but we look forward to coming back together next week for Speaking of Zane. You guys ever have anything you want to share? This is your forum as well. If anybody ever has anything they want to share, share it with me and I'll share it. Or if you want me to bring you in on the video, I will do that, doggone it. It's easy to do. And would love to get some other folks in here talking besides me. So feel free to reach out. Let me know if you ever have anything that you would like to share with the group. I would absolutely be more than happy to bring you in and share alongside you. So certainly appreciate everybody joining tonight. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your week. I plan to do so. And we will see you again Sunday night for Speaking of Zane.